Namaste, you're on the Nation at 5. I'm Anand Narasimhan, and we start with news just coming through, and this is of significance, ladies and gentlemen. We, at the top of this edition of the Nation at 5, will try and decode the speech made by the Chinese President Xi Jinping soon after he confirmed his ascension for a third term and almost, quite literally, declared himself as the great leader. No one but Mao Zedong has been able to call himself or project himself as the great leader. Now, Xi Jinping's statement has been decoded at multiple levels, but what we are giving to you is the interpretation of the government and top sources within the intel mechanism within the government of India who are responding to and who have listened to that speech very, very carefully. Some highlights that stand out at the meeting of the Chinese Communist Party, where all signs point to a confirmation of a third term for Xi Jinping. Now, this is as per top sources within the government who are decoding this, who are telling us that this speech lasted for 104 minutes, which is well short of his 2017 speech. But in 2017, he had gone quite literally for nearly 180 minutes, nearly 3 hours or plus. But one thing that stands out is that the detailed report that he read out the last time around, he stopped short of reading the detailed report altogether. Now, what we are given to understand, and this is the understanding as we decode Xi Jinping's speech, is that security or safety, the words security, safety were used 89 times. Up from 55 times in 2017. So what does that mean? What does that imply? Reform declined to 48 from what was 68. So in 2017, he used the word reform in his report and in his speech 68 times. This time it's 48 times. The words security and safety have gone up to 89 from 55. Again, he did not lay out the full work report, but the report and the speech is very similar to what he had made 5 years ago in 2017. So it's continuing on the same path, same trajectory, same projection. That means expansionism is writ large, and they will push through with what are the stated ideals of the CCP as laid out by Mao in 1949. At the other aspect, Xi Jinping countered outside analysis on the state of China. He reflected CCP's ideological campaigns of the last few years. Anti-corruption narrative was also stated there. It is central to Xi Jinping's political image, and many have alleged that he has also used this entire angle to fix his probable opponents within the CCP. This is also he's projected as it being central to the prosperity of China under the CCP or under his regime. Xi maintains control and also reform, where he said are key to economic rebound. The CCP could see personnel changes to try and appease certain factions that seem to have come around and also backed Xi Jinping's ascension to a third term. The road all set, that's what it looks like. We have Venus Upadhyay, senior reporter, India and South Asia at Epoch Times with us, and Lieutenant General Rakesh Sharma, distinguished fellow at CLAWS and VIF. General Sharma, I'm going to start with you. Namaste. Thank you very much for making the time. Venus, thank you. Always a pleasure speaking with you as always. But General Sharma, I'm sure you would have also perused and listened to Xi Jinping's speech. How do you see, with respect to India and also the attitude of this CCP PLA regime under him? Is he all set for a third term? Does that make him a great leader, second only to Mao? Or perhaps is he trying to project himself as the same as Mao?
Yeah, thank you, Anand, for inviting me. Fact is that he is a different leader. He is not made in the mold of Deng Xiaoping, Hu Jintao, Jiang Zemin. He is different, and that is proven. Now, he comes to the same level as Mao or not is a separate issue, and that time will tell. But yes, he has proven in many ways that he is different than those. Now, having said that, the speech was interesting. It cannot be compared with the speech to the 19th Party Congress. That's because 19th Party Congress, he started with enunciating his own thought into the constitution. So it was a rhetoric required of a different level. It was also a speech then when he coined a new word called in the new era, when everything became new era. So there was this is a different context. The 20th Party Congress speech is more on rhetoric, is more on continuity, as you rightly mentioned, out of his policies over a period of time. So then this is a different matter altogether. There are 3 to 4 critical issues that come out. One is that the communist ideology the ideology of being more red than the normal red is absolutely clear. He is more anxious about the strength to the Communist Party and anxious about the public. So all his statements about security, which so many times that he repeated, or safety, relates to all types of safety. It is national security, it's also water, it's also demographic issues. There are also issues pertaining to disaster management. So he has included security. So he has taken the larger securitization debate in which each and every issue has been taken up. So that's an ideological moorings of his entire speech. He has reiterated some of his policies which people thought he might mellow down under pressure of people, like the zero COVID policy. He didn't mellow it down. He did not mellow down on Taiwan and Hong Kong. In fact, he came strongly on Taiwan, says that though he wants peaceful reunification, he will not hesitate to use force, which is actually a very potent statement given out by him. And on economic frontiers, I think he is still sticking to his policies of which we have noticed, common prosperity and dual circulation, meaning that he wants the difference between the rich and the poor to be brought under control. So there is a substantial continuity in his entire speech, which was evident in the course of this 105 minutes or something that he spoke.
But will it pass muster with the Chinese people, Venus Upadhyay, or are there further disturbances? Because there have been talks about a democratic movement coming through. There was this huge poster that came through, which the Chinese wanted to tear down on any mention of it, which resisted Xi Jinping's repeat at the third term. There was a lot of gossip on social media that there is a coup that's being planned and military is marching towards Beijing, etc., in the run-up to this 19th Congress. How would you see his speech?
I think I would like to see Xi Jinping in the larger context of where China is moving, what China's larger objectives are, and all the other objectives that started, with this Congress or the past Congress, were the objectives that started with Mao. I think it's also important to understand that the plenary that happened before the Congress, the fourth plenary that started the Sunday before the Congress day, the message that came out was that Xi Jinping is the core of the CCP. So which means that the Xi Jinping thought, which was enshrined in the Constitution and the previous Congress, would continue to lead CCP towards its goals. Now, what are those goals? Those goals are basically the goals, the mid-century goals that lead the CCP. Those goals are basically the goals that have fundamentally Mao's vision or Mao's 100-year plans for China's development. The mid-century goals are basically all about China being the superpower. So I feel that the Xi Jinping speech and whatever has transpired in the past few days has to be looked into that context. There are a lot of people who are saying that Xi Jinping's Jinping.
Venus, I think I have a bad audio through with you. I'm not able to hear you clearly. We'll just sort that out and then I'll come back to you. But General Sharma, how would you see the impact on India? How should India infer what Xi Jinping wants to do? He's not mentioned India directly, but there has been symbolism. Bringing in one of the, what China claims is a soldier from Galwan, celebrating him as a hero, projection. Will China continue with its expansionist designs, or are they going to consolidate, and will Taiwan and its the open declaration of America as an adversary actually hog more of Xi Jinping's attentions over the next 5-10 years? Because their idea is to try and annex Taiwan over by 2027. It's not, and they're consolidating on Tibet, they're asserting, and they actually want the successor to Dalai Lama be appointed by the PLA and the CCP rather than by the entire group that is led by His Holiness the Dalai Lama.